And you can't clarify settlement dates. I certainly can. There's only one settlement date. It's T+1.
That's it.
Regular way, right? Regular way. Are there irregular ways to do business? Yes, but nobody does. That's why it's called regular way. The Uniform Practice Code standardizes practices within the securities industry. We all agree in the securities industry, regular way settlement between broker dealers is T+1. Please note, I said regular way settlement between broker dealers is T+1. So trade date is when we agree to terms. Settlement is when ownership changes hands. Now, one irregular way to settle a trade, we don't assume you're doing business for cash settlement, not a cash account, cash settlement. Cash settles same day. Reg T says we got to give customers 2 additional days to pay for their purchases. In a cash account or in a margin account, doesn't matter. We don't like to tell them that, but because we don't want to use our money to settle their trade. But as a margin clerk, I can't actually come after a customer until T+1 + 2. That's why Brian has on his whiteboard there T+3, right? Because that's what that ends up being. Right at that point, I say, hey, where's your money? And I get you an extension, I get you a mailgram, and at some point, if you don't pay as a margin clerk, I'm going to sell you out. By the time I sell you out, the stock could be up. You bought 1,000 shares at 40 and I sell you out the stocks at 50. And you say, well, Dean, I want the profit. I said, well, you never paid for the purchase. I'm going to send you the profit. I have to, that $10,000. But then I'm going to say, you free rider, you took a ride you didn't pay for. You used broker dealer money to do that. And now I'm going to freeze your account for 90 days. Now, what's frozen is not your trading privileges, but rather your credit privileges. For the next 90 days, I want cash or securities up front. Now, another irregular way to settle trades is DVP, where I say, hey, deliver the securities to my bank, and my bank will give you a check. That's called delivery versus payment. It's for institutional accounts, and there we have up to 35 calendar days. If you've been seeing different T+ dates, it's probably because you're using old material and watching an old video or something. God knows I've made a gazillion videos updating everybody for T+1. We live in a T+1 world. We're on our way to a, real-time settlement world. And Brian and I go so far back that we always laugh when people get freaked out about this, because when we came into business, can you imagine how realistic customers would be? When Brian and I came into business, it was T+5. So, we had 5 days to settle the trade.
In those 30 years, right, financial institutions have become far more digital. Yeah. Where there used to be a time when people would actually physically deliver a stock certificate.
Absolutely.
So it required time for transfer agents to transfer the ownership, collect the monies that were owed or delivered. So as the digital age has come upon us, the settlement has shrank.
Well, and also it's also shrinking. I'll just add to that, Brian. The other reason it's shrinking is it's hard to renege on a trade on T+1. Right. We actually know when you have defaulted. With T+5, it gives people longer times to not make good, to renege, to try and renegotiate. Hey, in our 1929 book by Aaron Sorkin that we're talking about on Thursday, that was World Brian's talk about, where we had physical boys, they were boys, and they'd be running securities back and forth down Wall Street, right?